See what you got. Nexstar. It's beginning. It's beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Or really, it has begun. It has begun. Now, this video is kind of a mini update video, and to be honest, by the time this video is posting, some major development may have been announced. Although, I do think that major development has already been revealed here, given what Ben Schwartz has said about Superman and Lois. And it does not look great, so I wanted to talk about this again. If it's been cancelled already and we're praying to HBO Max to keep Superman and Lois on, fair enough. I'll probably talk about that in my next week's review of Superman and Lois because there's some break this week. So how about that full schedule to begin with? As we know, guys, this has been, I've dipped off the CW for a hot minute now, for the most part, right? Stargirl, I was still watching. Superman and Lois, I was still watching. Gotham Knights, just no. I tried, but no. Batwoman, I tried, but no. Other shows I have tried. Other shows I have, taken a ride with, and I have fallen out of that vehicle. That is The Flash. And some other shows like Legends back in the day and whatnot as well. But what remained before Nexstar came along was Stargirl and Superman and Lois. And ladies and gentlemen, Nexstar came along. Stargirl bit the dust, but they aired the rest of their season. We enjoyed that. And Superman and Lois has been the question, hasn't it? Now, with this acquisition, they want a lot of unscripted kind of reality TV shows outside of one or two kind of scripted shows. And two of them have been renewed, right? And that is All American and Walker. And the reason why tension in the fandom has been rising as of these last few weeks is because, as per TV Line here, among scripted CW originals, that leaves the aforementioned Superman and Lois currently airing Season 3, Gotham Knights currently airing Season 1, and All American Homecoming, which ended Season 2 on March 27th, still on the fence. And the buzz has been that the CW may save only 2 to 3 total US scripted shows, leaving maybe one last slot open. So you have a couple or so shows fighting for that one last slot because it's already been filled mostly by Walker and All American right now. But this is what Ben Schwartz had to say about decisions regarding Superman and Lois, Gotham Knights, and whatnot. And don't forget, this is the CW's president of entertainment. This was said today. And again, any minute now, we could be hearing about a cancellation, but maybe not today, because I don't get why this would be said today if 2 hours from now it's like, oh yeah, no, it is canceled. But with what you read from this, it doesn't look like it has a future on the CW. So, Brad Schwartz offered an update on the status of remaining in limbo series Superman and Lois, Gotham Knights, and All American Homecoming. We love all three shows, said Schwartz. We'll be making decisions on those sooner rather than later. Okay, so any day now, right? I mean, that's what we've been thinking anyway, and maybe by the time, as I said, you're watching this video, it's cancelled. If so, comment accordingly below. But maybe comment that way anyway, because look, Superman and Lois, Ben Schwartz goes on to say, creatively is very strong. I agree. It's arguably the best stuff that the CW has put out in the best part of a decade. It does well in broadcast. It does well in digital. But it's expensive and doesn't make money for us. We're going to repeat that in a second. And we don't have the rights to the prior seasons. You need to have a library for people to find a show, right? And the prior seasons are on HBO Max. That does not sound good at all. He's saying Superman and Lois is creatively very strong. Okay, it does well in broadcast, does well in digital, but here's the thing, and what do they care about? I mean, considering their whole freaking network is full of unscripted things now, and reality TV, this, that, and the other. Money. But it's expensive and doesn't make money for us. He also goes on to say that we don't have the rights to the prior seasons, which, I think he's trying to, like, blanket it a little bit by saying, low-key, when we cancel it, I'm just putting it in here that, we also don't have the rights to the previous seasons, and maybe, you need to have a library for people to find a show, and, if we had seasons 1, 2 on there, then maybe we would have kept season 3 because, there might have been a bit more of an audience, maybe, and it might have made us some money. I get what he's saying there, but I just feel like he'd already said what he intends to do before even saying the whole thing about how, the prior seasons are on HBO Max. He said, and I know I'm probably driving you insane with repeating it, but this is why whatever this video is titled the way it is. It does well in digital, but it's expensive and doesn't make money for us. Why would the CW, according to Ben Schwartz, keep on Superman and Lois for season 4 if it doesn't make money for us? They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Especially with the added detail that, we also could do with the library of seasons 1 and 2. Fair enough. But we don't even have that. So, guys, translation here. Superman and Lois, I don't see it being renewed on the CW. I know a lot of us were somewhat leaning towards this being the case anyway. But I just find it interesting that they say, we will love the shows, we'll be making decisions on those sooner rather than later. Oh yeah, by the way, Superman and Lois is expensive and doesn't make money for us. So I believe the writing is on the wall there. I could, look, I'll hold my hand up if I'm wrong. Hands, I've got 2 of them. And, I'll be happy. This isn't an ego thing about, oh yeah, I'm so certain this is going to get cancelled. Like, genuinely, I would pay money for me to be wrong about this. And if it does turn out to be renewed for a 4th and final season, which it would probably have a huge budget cut or whatever, I'll still be happy, right? No matter what, even if it was on the CW. But it really doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It really doesn't. Now, as they said in this article that we read out a little bit earlier, given that All American has been renewed, given that Walker has been renewed, but Gotham Knights, Superman and Lois, and All American Homecoming are contending for that maybe one last slot, because the CW has been known to say that they may save only 2 to 3 total shows, and we have 3 shows, scripted shows, that want that slot. Given what you just said about Superman and Lois being, but it's expensive and doesn't make money for us, well, Gotham Knights and All American Homecoming are most likely the 2 fighting for that slot. And they did say as well, according to the Hollywood Reporter, that the CW hopes to at least save one of the DC shows, which to me translates to, obviously, Gotham Knights. Maybe All American Homecoming is the one that bites the dust here. Maybe not. Maybe all the DC shows, so Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights, won't get renewed. But Gotham Knights has a much better chance because it is really cheap. But then again, Gotham Knights doesn't get a shite ton of viewers in. Here on the Hollywood Reporter, it says Superman and Lois has the bigger audience. It's averaging 1.2 million viewers over 7 days to about 675,000 for Gotham Knights, but it is considerably pricier. Gotham Knights is the least expensive DC series the CW has ever aired. Now, if you're wondering why that is, I think a large part of it is, I think the show somewhat shows that, but I do feel like they, from what I did see of Gotham Knights, still navigate their way around to still looking like other CW shows. So, kudos to them there. It's the cheapest show, yet you still have made it look like the quality of some of the other DC shows, which are obviously more expensive, as what is being reported here. But they don't have to pay licensing out for, like, the Superman character, the name, Lois Lane, all of these characters. Then one of the main characters, Turner Hayes, the adopted son of Batman, in this iteration, is an original character. It's not Dick Grayson. Do you see what I mean? Original characters versus hiring out the license of Dick Grayson, from that of, like, Titans, DC Titans on HBO Max, which has, been cancelled and now it's finished its 4th season. That character would be way more expensive to license out to that show, Gotham Knights. Sure, you have Harvey Dent, Misha Collins playing Harvey Dent, but regardless, all you need to know here, much, much, much cheaper show. And with regards to that full schedule, don't forget that Superman and Lois wouldn't really be on it anyway because it's more of a mid-season show, so that would have come back January or beyond that, even if we did get a season 4. So what do I think is going to happen here? I think they've made it incredibly obvious that Superman and Lois just doesn't have a future on the CW. The fact that we have the president of entertainment literally saying, it does well here, it does well there, it's creatively strong, but, after the ... it's expensive and doesn't make money for us. I do not know why he would say that and then renew it. And then, again, the additional aspect of, you need to have a library for people to find the show. And, the prior seasons, we don't have that. So, HBO Max, do you want to save Superman and Lois? So that's the thing. I don't think Superman and Lois is going to make it. I'll be very happy if I'm wrong. Or maybe, I would kind of rather it not be on the CW, given what he's saying there, only if I knew somehow guaranteed that it was going to be picked up on HBO Max or saved by HBO Max. So that is what we're looking at. That is the projection we're looking at. Superman and Lois is not going to be picked, in my opinion. This leaves it to HBO Max to renew it. Gotham Knights, you know what? I just also wouldn't be surprised if they just renew All American Homecoming and don't even pick up Gotham Knights for season 2, even though it's the cheapest DC TV show on the CW's history. It still might not give them the views they want, maybe, versus the costs still, even though it's the cheapest. So they might be like, you know what? The time of DC TV on the CW is over. All American Homecoming, you could come in. All of our other homies with Walker and stuff. And, we've cancelled this, we've cancelled that. We've cancelled Winchester's spin-off or whatever it is. But, DC TV is over. But maybe Gotham Knights will make it. Maybe it will. But if it does, that's because it is very cheap. But let's get back to Superman and Lois. Will HBO Max save it? I don't know. I think a lot of people are putting a lot of faith in there. And, I like HBO Max. It's hosted Doom Patrol, Titans. It's got some other great shows on there. And it has had some good content to offer. But they have also, especially in the past year, done a lot of things with regards to they've passed on so many things, like Westworld, a very popular once flagship show. Granted, it didn't do as well as it used to. I believe they paid all of the actors for the 5th and final season, but never made it. They pulled all of this programming off of HBO Max and didn't want to air it anymore, so it's kind of lost to be no longer aired anywhere. They've passed on so many shows like Batman Cape Crusader. Granted, it's an animation and it might not pull in tons and tons and tons of people. It's still the Batman brand and it's the new animated Batman show, but they still didn't even want that. But now we've got it on Amazon, so it's all good. They passed on Constantine, the show that was in the works. Like all of these J.J. Abrams projects, Demimond and other things. And I'm probably forgetting even better examples right now. So do you see what I mean? I still feel like HBO Max, with all the money they've been trying to conserve, might be like, you know what, we could renew it, but just let the past die. They might do that, but that's me being a bit of a pessimist there. I do think there's some supporting evidence for why I think that, and I wish I could pull better examples from my brain right now. But I just wouldn't put all your hopes on it if the CW does indeed cancel Superman and Lois and you're relying on HBO Max. But it could be possible, and I'm hoping, this is the outcome we're all hoping for, that it gets renewed, or should I say saved, by HBO Max. They've already got the back catalog there of season 1 and 2, which is cool, right? But instead of guaranteeing a proper future for this show, season 5, basically keep going, like James Gunn said, until Superman Legacy. If you don't know what I mean there, he basically said, I don't see why Superman and Lois can't get 1 or 2 more seasons. By the way, that's not his decision. It's still up to the network again. CW here canceling it. HBO Max can save it. But what he meant by at least a couple more years is because all the future DC DC TV shows will be canon to that of the new DC universe, for the most part. So Superman and Lois, long story short, what I'm trying to say here is that it only had potential up until season 5 before it ended for good anyway. But circling back round, I think if it gets saved by HBO Max, it will be renewed for a 4th and final season. And I think that's the most obvious optimal outcome here. I wouldn't remotely bank. I honestly, like, sure, you could argue HBO Max saves it for season 4. They renew it for season 5. I'm not that optimistic. I think the best outcome we could get is a 4th and final season on HBO Max. But yeah, those are the cards on the table right now. What do you think? Do you disagree with me? Do you think Ben Schwartz, the president of entertainment, saying, but it's expensive and doesn't make money for us, means that Superman and Lois has a future on Nexstar's new CW? It could be already announced by the time I'm posting this video, but I wanted to put something up on this anyway. The CW is long gone, man. Like, I mean, you know, people like to debate the quality of the CW like several years ago anyway, but like, if you didn't realize already, yeah. So like this video, guys, if you did enjoy it, would really appreciate that. You know, check out my community tab because I'm posting something that I want your feedback on with regards to a video on the DCU and the future of the DCU. Consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that for more videos just like this, news breakdowns. Normally I do a massive news roundup, but today was one of those rare times where I just dedicate it to one-ish topic. But anyway, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you fellow Kryptonians in the next video. Goodbye.